I'm Piers, Linney, and this is Scale Up. I'm going through the 5 key factors you need to consider if you're thinking of growing your business. The first one was planning. You need to have a plan. Second one was operations. You need to put systems and processes in place before you need them. The third one was people. People are obviously critical to your success. The fourth one was finance. You need to understand your options and prepare to raise finance. And the fifth one is about technology. Now it kind of pervades all 5 really, but let's talk about technology in terms of how it helps you run your business and become more efficient, but also how about it creates opportunity and competitive advantage. So let's get into it. Technology pervades all 5 factors really, and I could go into a long conversation with you about the future of technology and AI and robotics, and it is obviously key that you do look 5 to 10 years, even 15 years, even longer actually, into the future, and look at the way in which AI, robotics could impact society at large and commerce and business, because you don't want to be in a place in 5 or 10 years where your business or your service or your good is no longer required. And that can be quite broad. It can be anything from manual labour in terms of robotics replacing the need for manual labour, but also if you're a lawyer, the future is potentially not bright. I mean, I'm a lawyer, but what does a lawyer do? It applies logic to a massive data set, and let's face it, the computers are much better at doing that. If you're a lawyer, you won't be charging your client for the first draft of a sale and purchase agreement for much longer. Even if you're an accountant, it's very likely that software will disintermediate the accounting profession. So we've all got to look at what we do as employees, but especially in business, and look at how we can add value. And the secret to adding value, and I'm a trustee of Nesta, done a lot of research on this, is creativity. Currently, AI and software is not particularly good at creativity. So whether it's you or your as a career, but in this case your business, if you're adding value through adding creativity, then you've got more longevity. But let's get back into how you grow your business. Now, the first thing which I mentioned in my second video, which is on operations, is about, insofar as you can, automate everything. Use software, use APIs to link it together. There's no longer any need to pay a fortune for systems integrators to glue things together. So automate everything, whether it's from customer service to sales automation, to your accounts, to the way your accounts talks to your CRM system, to the way you produce even management accounts and distribute it to your stakeholders, whatever that might be. Move it online, move it into the cloud, and automate it. This reduces costs, makes you more efficient, makes you more productive, most importantly, and I said this in my second video, it allows you to focus on the business of running your business. Now, the beauty of being a business today is that you can focus on the business of running your business, whether you're a scale up looking to go from 50 grand to 500 grand, or 500k to 5 million, or 5 million to 50 million. There are ways in which you can, and ways in which you probably haven't even thought of if you haven't sat down and gone through this in detail, ways of actually taking out costs and optimizing your business in terms of making it more efficient, making it more productive. And it's really important that you actually sit down and spend some time going through almost every single line in your management accounts, look at every single cost and work out, how can I use technology to reduce that cost? How can I use technology to make that fixed cost into a variable cost? Technology now means that you can access systems and processes and software that only large companies could dream of accessing in the past. And that gave large companies a competitive advantage. Now, the thing that annoys me is that large companies still per head spend more money on technology than small companies. And why is that? And it's anecdotal, but a lot of the experience I've had is that large companies have procurement departments. They pay people quite a lot of money to look at the market, look at the options, and buy or procure the right software and systems to make their business, more efficient or more productive. Now, in small companies, you're too busy putting out fires, and things are held together with gaffer tape and zip ties, and there's no need to do that anymore. You need to take some time out, look at your options, and procure the best systems and software which will enable you to be as competitive on a technology level with the largest companies. And this is the beauty of the cloud. Not too long ago, you had to go and spend capex and buy hardware and software and perpetual licenses. It's been renewed every year or every couple of years. Now you can buy software on a subscription basis. You don't need to own any hardware at all, whether it's the hardware layer, that's gone, that's in the cloud now, infrastructure as a service. You can buy most software as a subscription with software as a service. You can now buy networking as a service. Everything's becoming software defined, and there's no need to own infrastructure or own software and pay for it. Just keep an evergreen license, which means that you're always accessing the greatest, latest, newest software by paying subscriptions. So take some time out and look at your management accounts almost and go through every line and look at them and think, well, how can technology or software or integrating software systems or outsourcing or using cloud technology, how can it enable me to reduce that cost, to turn that fixed cost into a variable cost, which reduces business risk? What can I do to improve my business operations, productivity and efficiency, just using software or automation? This can start with very simple things. People think of networks and internet access as something, a commodity, and it's not the case. Your connectivity, especially if you have a distributed workforce, you're not all sitting in one office, and you're trying to move large files around. I mean, let's face it, that creativity and innovation comes through human beings sharing ideas, and files in this instance, or data needs to be transferred. So the speed and quality of your network is extremely important. In many ways, connectivity is increasingly the oxygen which companies breathe by. I've installed cloud solutions for very large companies, FTSE 100 companies, 20, 30,000 employees. Apart from perhaps some security, the solution's been exactly the same as the one that I've installed for startups, no difference whatsoever. And in fact, the smaller companies have been more nimble. They've been able to learn faster, integrate solutions faster, train their employees faster, and they adopt this technology faster as well. Technology always creates opportunity. It allows you to solve problems for potential customers in new and innovative ways. How do you use technology to improve your product? How do you use technology to improve your customer service, or the way in which you deploy it, or the way in which you sell it? Have you really understood and leveraged digital marketing? Are you really focused on the numbers and the BI? Can you improve your customer experience? Can you make your sales force more efficient? Can you use technologies in ways in which you can make customers happier? That means they're going to buy more. In my first video about growing your business and planning, I was very clear about make technology part of that planning process. How can you grow your business? If you're looking at selling more of the same product, can you improve the product? Can you make the sales process more efficient? If you're looking at maybe moving abroad, moving overseas, how do you do that? How do you move your talent or your culture, your ethos? How do you manage people remotely? In terms of talent, which is really important as well, how do you hire people wherever they are so you can access talent and deepen and widen your talent pool you can access? That creates competitive advantage. Use technology to access people, to communicate with people, and to share ideas in ways in which you weren't able to even a few years ago. If you're looking at mergers and acquisitions and you're trying to create synergy by reducing costs, yes, you might find it in ways, sales synergies by selling more to a larger customer base, or reducing costs by, duplicated headcount. But if you can implement technology that you're using, that your business is slick, and implemented in the new business you're acquiring, it means you can put these things together more easily and maybe take out their on-prem technology, whatever they might have. It means you can create cost synergies and make the combined entity more profitable. In M&A, using technology cleverly means you can create value pretty quickly. Then, of course, there's innovation through technology, and that's kind of blue sky, and it's probably a much longer video down the line that I'll do. But look at the world out there, look at your existing business, and you can sort of tweak what you're doing to improve it. But in many businesses, I talk to lots of people who have established businesses, and they forget to kind of zoom out from the actual product and service they offer and look at their customer base and what they do and their skill set and their intellectual property. And I say, well, you could apply that in a different market or a different geography, and it's the same idea, it's the same people, it's the same process, the same thinking, but it's a new product or service, or you could develop, and they then go away and think about that and create value. Your business may be technology led. So the points I've made about, you making your business more efficient through using technology in terms of operations, maybe you're already there. It's constantly changing in terms of how you develop technology, how you manage projects. I still meet with lots of companies who are in a sort of a scale up phase, who want to grow, and they're busy writing software, and they're still going for kind of a waterfall approach where they're still trying to write that blueprint and pin down exactly and context exactly what they're trying to do. And by the time they're halfway through the project, the wheel's moved on. So you need to, even if you're a reasonably large company, and it can be hard to do, but think like a startup. Carve out resource, outsource projects, and be agile and be prepared to change, because the market will change, your customer will change, and you have to be agile. That's the key, and that's what technology allows you to do. A growing issue I'm sure you're increasingly aware of is security. Now, as your business is growing, as your network expands, as you have more people connecting to your network, be they customers or employees or remote workers, or even video cameras in a shop, wherever they might be, you have more endpoints connecting to your network, and the sort of surface area of your business is becoming greater. And the bad guys, they've noticed that. So as the surface area grows, they can attack it at more points. Now, this is another video I'll probably have to make about security, but the methods in which they're trying to attack your business are varied, and these range from people, you've heard of denial of service attacks, where they try and bring down your website, and that could be the competition, or it can be where someone's trying to use social engineering or phishing to get one of your employees to send an amount of money to some random bank account. Now, this all happens. It happens every day. It's happening in terms of billions of pounds across the planet. Most medium-sized companies, if they have a serious security breach, it costs them £1 to £2 million to fix. And I've come across companies that haven't fixed it. They've gone to sleep at night, had a data breach, woken up in the morning, and they haven't got a business. So security is key. You have to look at your business, look at the threats. Now, security is a question of budget sometimes, but it's a question of also how serious is it to my business? What impact would the loss of that particular data have to my business? And that's where you need to think about what budget you apply to protecting that. But it's also cultural. You can't have your business set up like GCHQ, sort of a castle almost, where somebody leaves some important data, printed data on a USB, on a train. Compartmentalize your network. Think about who needs to access your network. Have the ability to sniff out, strange behaviour. If somebody you think may be leaving the company or is interviewing, is suddenly downloading a huge amount of data at the weekend at home, then you need to have an alert that tells you that's happening. Even the cloud, sometimes people can get confused that a cloud solution is about building blocks. So if you want to have the ability to have data replicated or backed up, that's fine. If you want the ability to keep your business going, even if you do have an issue, say one site goes down and you want to have actual real-time geo-redundancy, that costs you more money. But think about what you need, even in the cloud, and use the building blocks that are available to build the right solution for your business at the right budget. Your business might be quite small in the grand scheme of things, but if you're in the supply chain of a large business that has attractive IP to a foreign nation state, then you might find that your small business has got the resources of a nation state going after it, or trying to go through your business to get to the person you're supplying. And the fact they take you down in the way and your collateral damage, they just don't care. Take security seriously. It's no longer a question of having a bit of antivirus software, individual laptops, or some email spam filter. You need to have an overview and a control environment in which you understand the security risks and the impact of a security breach on your business. The new workforce coming in now, millennials, whatever you want to call them, they're used to multitasking and using different types of technology. Emails dying out. I've employed people in their kind of early 20s that they've had to be trained on how to use email, which is not a bad thing. Messaging is instant. It's more sort of productive, and sometimes in many ways it's more culturally acceptable to the new people coming into the workplace. They're expecting technology in the office, in the workplace, to be at least as good as the tech they've got at home. And in many cases, over the last sort of 5-10 years, there's been a huge shift where people's personal technology, the ability to get stuff done at home, is lacking massively in the workplace. If the tech you're providing people in the workplace is not as good as the technology they can access at home or on their phone, you're going to find this starts to use shadow IT, and you want to avoid that. You want to avoid people using systems and software or file sharing websites where you don't have access to, you can't see what's going on. So it's very important to make sure that culturally that doesn't happen, but also that there's less incentive to do it because you're making the best technology that you can afford available. Work is something you do now, not somewhere you go. So think about whether you need to have a desk for every single person, how you access talent, how you make working for you more attractive by offering remote working. So the technology now means that you don't need to have physical office space. Now, people still might want to work in a collegiate environment where there's that co-working space where you might have 200 people working for 200 different companies, but you increasingly don't need to have, unless you're in manufacturing or something, a physical space and the overhead of a desk per person. Think about that very, very carefully in terms of, again, reducing your cost and especially reducing your fixed costs in terms of the product, the service, the customer service, create happier customers, reduce costs, become more efficient, because the opportunities are there and they're changing every day. So you need to really look at it very, very hard and see whether you've missed a trick. The other side of the coin about technology being an enabler is that the barriers to entry are coming down. So you can wake up tomorrow morning and find that there's some disruptive competition in the market that's going to cause you a problem. So as I said before in my first video about planning, having a plan to stay still is not really a plan anymore. In dynamic markets where things change very quickly, you've at least got to think and plan ahead about just maintaining your market share. And I'll finish with this, is that we're living in a time now, and it might be 10, 20, 30 years, depending on who you're listening to, where we are approaching this singularity in terms of artificial intelligence. And even as we approach that, things are going to change massively. And the difference between us and the machines and robots with AI is creativity. And that's where you need to add value. You're not going to be able to have businesses in the future that just do provide mundane tasks for a commodity price. The world is going to move past that. So if you want to create a big business, then you need to think about adding value and adding creativity and beating the machines. So that was video number 5, technology, in my 5 factors that you need to consider if you're thinking of growing your business. So I put together 5 videos now, and if this is the first one you've watched, please go and watch the other 4. So you've got one on planning, operations, people, finance and technology, and I hope they've been useful.